Whether you're a gamer or not, you've undoubtedly heard of Sonic the Hedgehog. He's been around since 1991 and was all the rage throughout his debut decade, debatably overtaking Mario in popularity to this day. So, what makes the speedy blue hedgehog so appealing? Well, you're in luck, because no matter if this is your first time attempting a Sonic game, or maybe you dropped out of the series a long time ago and forgot how to play, this is a beginner's guide to Sonic the Hedgehog 1. When you load up the game, you'll see Sonic's very recognizable title screen. Press start and you'll find yourself in Green Hill Zone Act 1. Right away you'll see floating rings in the air. They may look useless, but I assure you, they are so important that you will want to carry at least a couple of them throughout the entire game. If you happen to walk or fall into any badniks, the robots scattered around each zone, or spikes, or any other hazard, you lose a life. If you have at least one ring collected, it spares you from most hazards, at the cost of losing all of the rings that you've collected when you get hit. However, you can recollect your rings, so it's usually very forgiving. But don't feel completely at ease, because there are ways you can die while carrying rings. Bottomless pits or crushing objects that can come from the ceiling or the floor. But if you manage to be careful enough and finish the stage with 50 rings or more, you'll find a giant ring. Jump into it, and it'll take you to a secret zone. More on that in a minute. Rings can also be found in monitors, which look like TVs. Upon breaking them by jumping or rolling into them, you can obtain a shield, which allows Sonic to get hit once without losing all of his rings, power sneakers, which makes Sonic much faster for a short period of time, an extra life, which needs no explanation, and invincibility for a short period of time. Another way to get an extra life is by collecting 100 rings at once. If you don't want to start back at the beginning when you die, look for checkpoints, which have a blue sphere that spins around and turns red when you've gone by. Now, back to the secret zone. Welcome to Motion Sickness Zone, better known as the Special Stage. There are 6 special stages to maneuver through, all very disorienting, seeing as they are always moving to the right. You mainly get through the special stages by jumping, although the left and right buttons do still work. The circles that say up speed up the spinning when you touch them, and the circles that say down slow down the spinning. Congratulations, you are now one of the 20% of Sonic fans who actually knows what those do. You will find spheres on the outside of the special stage that say goal on them, but don't be tricked, those aren't truly the goal. Follow where the rings lead, hit the R sphere to reverse the spinning direction of the special stage if you need to, and if you go on the right path, you will find diamonds surrounding a gem, that is, a Chaos Emerald. You'll have to jump onto the diamonds and stay there as best you can. You'll hear a sound when you hit them, indicating that you're knocking down their defenses. Hit each diamond 4 times and they'll disappear. Keep doing so until you can reach the Chaos Emerald in the middle. Once you collect the Chaos Emerald by touching it, you'll hear this jingle. Congratulations, you've just collected a Chaos Emerald. But beware, the other 5 are more challenging than the first one. If you don't have 50 or more rings, running by the goalpost with Dr. Robotnik's face on it will complete the level. The sign will spin around and show Sonic's face. Special stages are unavailable on every third act due to bosses. Now, how do you destroy badniks? You have 2 options. Either hold a jump button so that Sonic jumps into a ball and then lands on the badnik, or run towards a badnik and then hold down, and Sonic will roll into the badnik, giving a satisfying popping sound. You'll also encounter red and yellow springs across the zones. Jump onto them, and they'll spring you into the air. What did you expect? But be careful, because you aren't rolled into a ball when you spring up, so you'll be vulnerable to attacks from enemies. Once you reach the end of the 3rd stage of each act, you'll find Dr. Robotnik, also known as Eggman, who will appear in a small semicircular ship. To attack him, simply jump towards him, and you'll hear this sound when you've dealt him damage. Hit Dr. Robotnik, or Eggman if you prefer, 8 times and his ship will burst into explosions as he flies away. You'll be fine. Follow him and you'll find a capsule with a button on top of it. Jump on top of it and animals will jump out. Dr. Robotnik was using the animals to power his creations and you've just set them free. As you enter Marble Zone, you'll find a badnik that looks like a caterpillar, with spikes on it, called a caterkiller. To destroy it, either jump or roll specifically onto its head. Jumping onto its back will result in you either losing your rings or your shield, depending on what you have. Once you make it far enough through the level, you'll find a button on the floor, and a block. Go to the other side of the block and walk into the block until it falls on the button on the floor. The platform that you were just on will slowly rise up. Be sure not to stand on the rising platform so you don't get crushed. You'll see a lava pit with blocks that are falling from the ceiling into the lava. Go to the far right of the platform that you're on and keep jumping to the next platform once the next blocks fall. Once all of the blocks have fallen, you should be able to safely make it to the other side. Later in the level, there are more sections where you have to push a block into lava to progress. The second of these will launch the block into the air with an upwards lava gush. Be sure to stay on the block and jump to the platform on the left of the block that you're standing on. Eventually, you'll come across bricks beneath you that are blocking your path. Either jump onto them or roll onto them to break them. When you make it to Labyrinth Zone, you'll see small drills coming out of the ground. Look out, because when you get close enough, they'll spring out to attack you. You'll also see a shield monitor before going underwater. Note that it does not help you breathe underwater. Trust me, we've all tried it. As you progress underwater, be sure to look for bubbles on the ground. They'll let out a few different types of bubbles: small bubbles, medium bubbles, and large bubbles. Jump into the large bubbles to regain your oxygen. When you see a countdown starting from 5, and start hearing frantic music, rush to a bubble station as soon as you can, unless if there's a closer spot where you can surface from. The next obstacle that you'll find is a room that you enter with a spring that launches you out of the water into the air. There's a locked door with no visible way to open it. Don't panic, gamers. After some platforming, you'll find a ring monitor. Jump on it and there will be a button that you can step on. Once you press the button, it will keep the door open. In Labyrinth Zone Act 3, you'll slide down an endless waterfall. On your biggest opening to jump without pressing left or right. Right here. You'll find a button. Jump on it and head back to where you came from without falling back into the endless waterfall. Jump through the vertical bit of the waterfall and you'll be good to go until the end of the level. Once you get to the end of Act 3, you'll come across what is easily the hardest boss of the game. Although Dr. Robotnik can be defeated in this boss battle, this is the only instance where it is not required to beat him. Just take it slow. And note that when you're going vertically, water will chase you. In Starlight Zone, you'll find seesaws with a spike ball on the lower end of each seesaw. Jump onto the higher part of the seesaw so that the spike ball flies into the air. Quickly move to the other side of the seesaw so that the spike ball doesn't land on you. You'll also encounter blocks like these. In order to use them, stand on them if you're above them, or if you're below them, jump onto their bottom side. When you make it to Starlight Zone's boss, be sure to use seesaws to launch either Sonic or the spike balls into the air to hit Dr. Robotnik. Do you like taking damage? Welcome to Scrap Brain Zone, the only zone in this game worse than Labyrinth Zone. The first new obstacle that you'll come across is a collapsing floor. Make sure to jump over it, and after avoiding some sudden fire, you'll come across a spinning circle with a notch in it. The pressure plate next to the spinning circle will change the direction of the circle spinning. Always be sure to choose the top path in these levels, as the bottom paths have countless bottomless pits. In Scrap Brain Zone Act 2, there are more spinning circles, but without any notches in them. Jump onto their tops to hang on to them. As you run around the circles, you'll need to find the right place and directions to jump off in order to continue through the level. At the end of Act 2, you'll find that you can go further to the right after passing the level, and that doing so leads you to Dr. Robotnik. He'll step on a button that drops you into Scrap Brain Zone Act 3. Easily the most frustrating level in the game, you'll have to use all of your skills from previous levels to make it through. However, there is a very useful shortcut hidden right at the beginning of the level. If you step on the button at the beginning and very quickly run ahead of the sliding bridge, you'll see an area where you can fall down ahead of the bridge. This takes a lot of the difficulty out of the level. Stay on the top of the shortcut at all times and keep going to the right as far as you can until you can't go right any further and have to fall into the water. Then climb up the right side of the room, and after you dodge some spinning spike balls, you'll find a spring that will spring you up out of the zone. Jump onto the spring, and it will launch you into the final zone. To defeat the final boss, avoid getting hit by the orbs, as well as getting crushed by the crushers, and hit the middle of the crusher that Dr. Robotnik is in every time he appears in one. After the 8 hits, he'll run away. He'll slowly try to escape in his ship, and you'll be able to hit it as he flies away, exploding spectacularly. Congratulations, you've just beaten Sonic the Hedgehog 1. And if you've collected all of the Chaos Emeralds, you are rewarded with an extremely exciting sequence that is less than 10 seconds long as you watch the Chaos Emeralds rise up from your hands and disappear. The real Chaos Emeralds with the friends we made along the way, right? So, which version of Sonic the Hedgehog 1 is the best one for you to get? I would recommend the Sonic the Hedgehog 1 port for iOS and Android. It's completely free, albeit with ads, which you can pay a small amount to remove, and unlike the original game, it has save files. And you can Bluetooth connect a gaming controller to it. You could also play Sonic 1 Absolute, a fan recreation of the game, but assuming that you don't like downloading things off of sites that you've never been to before, I would still recommend the mobile ports. But in case if you still want to download Sonic 1 forever, I'll be sure to put a link in the description. And there is everything that a beginner needs to know about Sonic the Hedgehog 1. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to drop a like, share, and subscribe for a beginner's guide to Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay speedy.